Welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Kenneth Clayton. He's with the University of Kentucky, Extension Turfgrass there. And we're going to talk a little bit today about turf weeds and weeds in your lawn. You know, sometimes people see them and they're like, oh, I want to get rid of them, but it's a little too late a lot of times when we see that flower in the spring.
Yes, a little phrase to help keep it in mind. I always say when it comes to treating weeds, spring is better than summer, but fall is best of all. And so there's great opportunities as we enter the fall this season to take care of a lot of the weed problems and have a much more uniform, dense, weed-free lawn come 2025. And so the first thing that I always want to say when thinking about weeds is promoting the health of the grass that you want. So a good, dense stand of grass is going to help shade out those weeds and not allow them to come up and take over the lawn. So.
Absolutely, because a lot of times we'll see them in bare spots or maybe spots that are not as vigorous. Those weeds really pop up. And those weeds, once they are kind of there, they tend to persist.
Yes, absolutely. So in the fall, and when I say fall, I'm typically thinking about after our first frost. So say mid-October all the way up to Thanksgiving around the Bowling Green area. We can, by treating in the fall, have good success killing our perennial broadleaf weeds. As those weeds are storing carbohydrates, they're pulling, more likely going to pull that herbicide down into those roots, the tap roots, that whereas we sprayed them in the spring, they're going to bounce right back. But in the fall, you get a better kill with that. And in addition to that, we can also kill our winter annuals. So things like our henbits, our purple dead nettles, chickweed, as they germinate in the fall, and they're very small and easier to kill at that young stage. So we're able to kill two birds with one stone here, if you will.
Yeah.
And also in addition to being able to use less herbicides, have to go out less frequently, save money, we can also have reduced risk of damaging our desirable landscape plants. So as the trees have lost their leaves, as our landscape plants aren't growing as much, any kind of drift that you may have is going to have a reduced risk of damaging those plants. So typically we want to recommend a three-way herbicide. Certain broadleaf, perennial broadleaf weeds are going to be controlled by 2,4-D, certain are going to be controlled by other herbicides, but they're not all equal. So if we use a three-way herbicide that may have 2,4-D, MCPP, and dicamba, that's a good broad spectrum that will take care of most of those broadleaf weeds. That being said, is two prominent weeds in the state of Kentucky is wild violet and our creeping Charlie or our ground ivy. And with those two weeds, our three-way herbicide's not going to control those, but we want to use triclopyr. And I recommend buying triclopyr alone. Could be triclopyr 4 or Turflawn ester or any number of these products that are available, because that's going to have a higher active ingredient load of triclopyr than if it's mixed in with another herbicide. And again, with this, we want to think about applications in the fall. Okay. But because it is such a difficult to control weed, we'll likely have to make a second application in the spring and promoting the health of the grass as well. Most of our weeds, we're thinking fall, are summer annual weeds. So things like our crabgrass, our goosegrass, our foxtails. The best way to control those is with a pre-emergence herbicide. And we want to apply those in the spring when that soil temperature about 2 inches is getting to an average about 55. So that can be as early as March, in the state of Kentucky. And I also recommend taking that total application rate that you're going to use and apply that first early, as soon as you get those soil temperatures where they need to be, and come back in another 6 to 8 weeks and make the second application to get to your full load. So that's going to expand your control of those weeds longer into the year. And then also thinking about fertilizing. We want to fertilize in the fall, so we're not promoting our warm season grasses by fertilizing in the summer.
You have to have timing. You have to know what weeds that you have out there that you're trying to control, what products are effective. And then with crabgrass, we have to really watch that temperature in the spring. And like you mentioned in Kentucky, this year it was really early.
So the warm season weeds are much more difficult to control once they've emerged. The pre-emergence herbicides are going to be much more helpful there.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.